I just like writing about stuff. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Imai and this is BTV. BTV is a series on my channel where we watch an episode of a TV show. It's been mostly cartoons, so you can switch it up if you want to while I put my makeup on. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel, you know that I have been going through ups and downs and downs regarding this series. It is not a secret, I've talked about it in multiple videos before, that I have gotten a lot of racist hate on this channel due to some of the commentary that I've made on some of these videos. If you want to hear more about my ups and downs with this series, it's on Spotify and a couple videos down, but I've considered making it members only. I've considered putting it all on Spotify so I don't get any comments at all. I've considered just shutting it down entirely, and as of right now, I still don't know what my final decision is going to be regarding this series, but what I do know is I want to continue doing it. So I am. As of right now, we're just going to continue making it and see if maybe the tide shifts and the racists stay where they are, which is away from me. Today we are watching, oh god, I didn't even look up what season, or it's season 3, but what episode is this? Oh, it's season 2. It's the end of season 2. Season 2, episode 17, And She Was Gone, of As Told by Ginger. I don't know what order you're seeing this in, if we watched Host Club already, or if Host Club is next week. I literally have no idea, but Host Club is still coming. It was supposed to be part of Pilot Month, but I had to take a break. I'm currently still on that break. Right now, I am just stockpiling videos so I can just you know? So the episode begins and Miss Zorsky is reading the winner of last year's Emerging Authors competition. Why do I keep doing this? I keep forgetting the names of things right after I see them. No, I was right. I got mad at myself, but I was right. Ms. Zorsky is reading the submission of last year's winner of the Emerging Authors Award, and she lets the class know that the competition this year is going to start and the winner will have their work published. So at the end of class, Ms. Zorsky sees Ginger take like the eligibility requirements for the competition, and Ms. Zorsky smiles at her, and because she knew that Ginger was going to want to partake in the competition because we've seen her write poetry in the past. Ginger's a writer. So Ginger's reading the requirements for the competition, double space, whatever, and the piece of work is supposed to be due by the end of the week. And Dodie goes, maybe you should write about me. Shut up. Shut up. So Ginger tells Dodie and Macy that she's just going to do her regular writing ritual and wait for her inspiration to come to her. And Macy goes, yeah, that'll never work. Macy! What's wrong with you? So, if you don't already know, As Told by Ginger is a show with an A plot and a B plot. The A plot is usually Ginger and her friends, and the B plot is usually Ginger's little brother Carl and his friend Hoodsie, who is Dodie's little brother. I usually only cover the A plot, or whichever plot I decide to cover for the episode in my videos. If you guys want to see the B plot of this episode, it is on Paramount Plus, or you can watch it on other device. I have no Paramount Plus. I will not be covering it. It's something about vanishing powder, and he wants to make someone at school vanish. But we're talking about Ginger and the girls, okay? So Ginger's sitting in front of her typewriter, and she's starting to write out her poem about a girl who kind of feels trapped in her life, and she's not doing very well. And then the tea kettle goes off, and her mom catches her talking to the tea kettle. She seems like she's proud of the progress that she's making on this poem. So in the next part of Ginger's poem, she talks about how this depressed girl has vanished, and she's just laying on the floor of her bedroom, and she's proud of the work that she's producing, and good for you, girl. So Ginger shows the poem to Miss Zorsky the next day at school, and Miss Zorsky tells her, this is good, don't get me wrong, your writing is wonderful, but this is a bit concerning, so I'm going to show this to the school psychologist just to get her thoughts on this poem. And Ginger's confused. She's like, it's not about me, I just wrote it. And Ginger's concerned about her status in the competition. She says, am I still allowed to enter? She goes, of course you are, but I still want you to go see the school psychologist. And that is what makes her feel bad more than anything. She was so proud of her work, and now she's being treated like a head case. But this is good though. Because I don't know, if I were a teacher, because I went to school for English, I am a writer, or I have written. I wouldn't call myself a writer, that's not my passion. But if I had a student who wrote this poem, I would want them to see someone too, just because if it was about her personal experience, I don't want to feel like I dropped the ball when this may be interpreted as a cry for help. This is good. It's good that they're sending her. So at lunch, Ginger is visibly very upset, and Dodie tries to tell her, you know, like when my mom gets upset, she screams into a hand towel. Do you want to try that? And at first, Ginger's like, I really don't want to talk about it. But then she opens up and says, like, I wrote this poem and it was a little sad, but everyone's treating me like I'm a head case for just, all I did was write a poem. I didn't do anything. So Ginger reads Dodie and Macy the poem, and we're getting the visuals of the girl with her puppet strings and her vanishing. And Ginger, like right behind her is Courtney and Miranda, and Courtney's like, oh my god, you poor tortured soul. And Miranda was like, if I knew you were clinically depressed, I would have gone easier on you. I'm sorry, that's hilarious. Like, why would you say it? And Ginger's like, this is fiction. This is not real. I don't feel this way. And Miranda's like, man, I want you to disappear, but you feel that way too? Oh my god. So, like, a small crowd forms around the table. And Dodie is like, all right, people, go away. Nothing to see here. Leave. And I'm like, is this a good move by Dodie? But Dodie and Macy just kind of tell Ginger, like, if you ever do have thoughts of, like, wanting to disappear, like the girl in your story, we just hope that you would let us know how you're feeling. And Ginger's like, I'm fine. I'm not depressed. I'm good. So at home, Ginger's laying on the couch, upset over what's going on with her and how everyone's treating her like she's crazy. And I'm naming every other character in my head except for Carl. Carl is upset because he used his vanishing powder to accidentally vanish someone in his class that he actually realized he cared about. B-plot. Stays with the B-plot. But Lois comes home and she's like, what is going on with my children? And Ginger's like, we are just laying here. It's fine. And she lets her know that, like, this is what's going on in school. Everyone's treating this like it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. And now Miss Zorsky wants me to go see the school psychologist. And Lois is like, well, if Miss Zorsky wants you to go see her, like, I kind of trust her judgment a little bit. What's going on? So that night, Ginger sneaks down from her bedroom and slides the poem under her mother's door so she can read it. And the psychologist also reads it and says that this is beautiful work, but it is concerning. And the therapist asks her, like, are there times where you wish you would disappear? And Ginger's like, joking. She's like, right now. I don't want to be here. And the therapist takes her little pen and writes, and she's like, oh god. On Ginger's locker is a flyer for the 7th period rap group, and on her lock, it says on the flyer, for girls like you. And she's like, what does that mean, girls like me? And here goes Courtney in her new emo depressed garb, which I can't believe she dyed her hair black for. And she's like, you're getting all this attention for being depressed, so guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be depressed and get attention now. So back at home, it is dinner time, or maybe after dinner time, because Ginger's in her pajamas. And Lois comes into the kitchen where Ginger is, and she tells her, I'm putting glue on my lash. She tells her, I know you don't want to talk about it, but your poem was fantastic. She's like, you're not concerned for me? You don't think this is troubling? She's like, no, I know you're not the girl in the story. You are a girl who is so aware of other people's feelings that you can write about them so wonderfully. And Ginger's like, oh my god, thank you, finally someone. Someone who understands that I'm not clinically depressed. I just like writing about stuff. And Queen Lois is like, you know you. So if you feel like you need to talk to someone and that school psychologist is not working out, come talk to mom. I love this lady. So back at school, Ginger goes to the 7th period rap group, and Courtney is talking about, she's fake crying over some situation where someone used her hair products without her permission. And the school psychologist is like, well, maybe let's not talk about that, and let's talk about how you need to be the center of attention all the time, and that's your problem. And Courtney's like, I'm sorry? in the end, Ginger is glad that she wrote her poem because, one, she went to the therapy session, the group therapy session, and it was actually kind of good for her. You know, like, talking about your feelings is good for you. A lesson that I need to learn myself. She said that, you know, maybe it caused such an uproar because everyone can see a little bit of themselves in my character, and people can kind of resonate with the feeling of feeling bad. So she says she felt herself a little deeper and she got to know herself a little more when writing this poem. And she says even if she doesn't win the competition, she feels like she won because she learned something about herself and who she was. And I don't know why I feel like I'm gonna cry right now. Feel it in the back of my throat. Little crybaby at heart. Y'all know this. But as she's telling us this, we see the visuals of the girl from the poem kind of walking throughout the city and living her life. And at the end, we see the publication of her poem, and we can assume from the fact that this is being published that Ginger won the competition with her poem. Great episode, great message. Can we talk about how how Miranda was like, oh, you're depressed? Let me bully you. What? Why would you, what? And she's talking about how, you know, being a teenager is kind of hard and sometimes you just want to escape. And I know I had those feelings when I was a teenager. And I think it's really important how at the end, Ginger says everyone can kind of relate to the character that she wrote about because it's true. Like, Ginger wasn't even sure throughout the episode that she was even depressed, but she still went to the rap group to hear other people's stories, and it gave her that insight that everyone's going through something, whether they realize it or not. Overall, I think that it was super important that her mom told her, like, when you're not feeling well, you'll know. You reach out for help if you do have those thoughts and feelings, but you are allowed to decide how you feel. Don't let the pressures of the outside determine how you feel about what's going on in your life. You'll know how you feel and you'll know when you need help, and then to reach out and get it. And I think it was really great for them to show Ginger not even being sure about whether or not she actually had this depression, but she went to seek the help anyway, because sometimes you don't know until it's too late. And that's a message that some people need to hear. And I know my mom's not watching this. I don't think she watches my cartoon videos. But this lady has been begging for me to go to therapy. And I'm like, nah, I'll go in my own time. Even though I actually probably need to go. But yeah, Ginger, it's good. It's good for kids to see that even if you don't necessarily feel like you need help right now, that resources are there. And I like that the flyer was put on her locker because it was like it was genuine concern for her. Aside from Miranda's weird, gross sentiment about, like, hey, if I knew you had something going on with you, I wouldn't have bullied you like that. That was crazy for her to say. But I mean, thanks, I guess. But the feeling of wanting to escape is so real. Like, even, like, I'm completely happy. That's a stretch. I'm fairly happy with my job. I like my coworkers. My manager's pretty cool. Like, I actually like the aspects of my job, but I still don't want to go. I'm longing for something more, and it's like I just want to stop. I just want to pause, take maybe a month to do whatever I want to do with my life, and then hit play again. But that's not possible. And I know a lot of people feel that way with, you know, oh my god, I just messed up look at my lash. Look what I just did to my lash. And it's like, it's not a foreign concept at all. How the hell did I do that? It was so easy to move it, but it's so hard to move it back. But like, sometimes just existing in the world as it is exhausting. And it's painful, but there's really not much you can do about it. And I think that was really important, and it was a really good thing that they did this. And As Told by Ginger, doing it again, hitting the nail on the head. This is a fantastic show and a fantastic episode. That's pretty much it for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more of me, I've mentioned it a few times. I have my new podcast called My Life Lately. The Instagram page is mylifelately.pod. My email, if you want to submit anything for me to talk about on the podcast, is mylifelatelypod@gmail.com. And that's kind of it for this video. I will see you guys next week, and thank you guys so much for watching and sticking with me through this long and complicated journey of what is going to happen with my channel, with this series, and with my life. So thank you guys for sticking around, and I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you guys soon.